Welcome to Pixarize's scene for Disorders of Genomic Imprinting, part of our playlist on chromosomal abnormalities. In this video, we'll be focusing on Prader-Willi and Angelman syndromes. Our quest to understand these disorders has brought us to SeaWorld. And don't worry, we're not going to discuss whether or not SeaWorld is morally bankrupt or not. There are plenty of resources out there to make us feel sufficiently bad about that. At Pixarize, we try to stick to exam prep, so let's dive in. The girl in this stunning red dress is celebrating her 15th birthday today. In the United States, we would say she's celebrating her quinceañera. In Latin America, we would say she herself is a quinceañera, since the word literally means 15-year-old girl. However, in both countries, we would agree that she's in the center of this image because in both of our imprinting disorders, the mutated allele lies on the 15th chromosome. And take a look at those flowers she's holding, chromosome-shaped daisies. Moving down the image, we can see that she's sitting on top of a sea turtle statue. She seems to have ignored the signs forbidding her from climbing on the statues, but we'll let it go. It's her quinceañera, after all. Mr. Turtle is there to remind us that in both disorders, there is significant developmental delay. Before we move on to our first imprinting disorder, let's review what imprinting is. Most genetic loci are made up of two active forms of an allele, one from mom and one from dad. But at some loci, one allele is silenced by DNA methylation and only one parental allele is expressed. So in these disorders, only the non-imprinted allele has to be mutated for someone to present with the disease. Alternatively, an affected child can inherit two copies of the same silent chromosome from a single parent, a phenomenon referred to as uniparental disomy. Now that we're up to speed on imprinting and cultural rites of passage, let's tackle our first disorder, Prader-Willi. Take a look at that whale in the pool to the left. That's Willy from the movie Free Willy. He might have been in some other indie stuff too, but he's definitely known for Free Willy. Now look at the SeaWorld staff member zapping Willy with a prod. For the sake of my conscience, I'm going to assume that Willy actually likes being prodded and that the dude is helping out. In any case, Willy is being prodded. Prodding Willy. Prader-Willi. Voila. Watching from outside the pool, we see a female staff member with an intricate butterfly tattoo covering most of her back. Her imprinted tattoo, female gender, and questionable decision to remain silent while Willy keeps getting prodded are there to remind us that in Prader-Willi, it is the maternal allele that's imprinted or remaining silent, and the paternal allele that's mutated. However, uniparental disomy, which in this case means inheriting two copies of the maternal allele, is responsible for 25% of the cases. Let's explore the rest of this half of the image to pick up some of Prader-Willi's important clinical features. First, note that Willy is gorging himself on fish, strengthening my hope that the prodding doesn't really faze him too much, and helping us remember that patients with Prader-Willi display hyperphagia, which then leads to obesity. Next, the little buoys to Willy's left being dwarfed by his impressive girth remind us that patients present with hypogonadism. And finally, the limp fish in the hands of our staff member helps us recall that they also present with hypotonia, or floppy baby syndrome. Alright, halfway done. Let's shift over to the right side of the image and take a peek at that hunk handing out flyers. No, that's not the angel guy with the real wings from the X-Men comics. These are fake. This angel guy is wearing his wings because he and his colorful flyers are advertising a new angelfish exhibit at SeaWorld. He's an angel man, advertising angel fish, and representing Angelman's syndrome. Clean. This dude has his own set of fancy tats. These tattoos probably represent a poor life choice for him, but to us they represent that in Angelman's it is the paternal allele that's imprinted and the maternal allele that's mutated. Uniparental disomy is once again an alternative inheritance mechanism, but it represents only 5% of these cases compared to the 25% in Prader-Willi. Let's finish up by going over the important clinical features seen in Angelman's. Angelman's was once known as happy puppet disease because patients experienced bouts of inappropriate laughter, constant smiling, and jerky movements. This staff member getting a little too worked up over his octopus puppeteering skills will help you remember this. To his right, we see that a child is totally losing his mind over the octopus puppet. His inability to sit still should remind us that these patients suffer from chronic seizures. Lastly, the wobbly taxi that just dropped off our bouncing child symbolizes the ataxia seen in Angelman's. And that's it. 2 halves of an image, 2 awful tattoos, and 2 genomic imprinting disorders down. After you crush your Prater, Willi, and Angelman questions on your boards, you can get back to the important stuff, like watching all the underrated entries in Willi the Whale's diverse oeuvre, for example. Thanks for watching.